Welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Chris Hansen.
Hey, David, how are you?
What's going on? How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, listen, you've long standing, you worked with Dateline and To Catch a Predator, but now you have a new podcast, Predator in Plain Sight, exposing Tom Girardi. So talk to me, like, how did you get involved with this? How did you meet up with Kimberly Archie, who I know is one of Tom's victims? She's been on this podcast many times.
Well, David, it's a logical extension of everything we're doing right now. We do the predator investigations and crime investigative documentaries on my streaming crime network, True Blue. We've got my other podcast, Predators I've Caught, where we go over previous cases and do a deep dive on who these guys are and where they are today. And so when I was approached to collaborate with Kimberly, I was excited at the opportunity. The Tom Girardi story was on my radar. The pop culture nature of Housewives of Beverly Hills and every other location obviously is so important and so ubiquitous in our society that it was a must see type thing. And none of this happens without Kimberly, obviously, because she's got such a vast background and so many connections in this, but it just made sense that we would take this story to the next level in the extension of all the work we've done investigating predators over the years.
Well, the first three episodes, which I am also a part of, so everyone needs to go
Yeah.
and listen. I'm so
And thank you for
thrilled.
that too. You are an important part of it. And again, we can't do it without other people who are immersed in different parts of this world. So I appreciate that as well.
Well, thank you. Well, I appreciate being asked. I mean, the first three parts are out, and then you and Kimberly are going to be covering the trial, which starts on August 6th.
Exactly. And it's going to be fascinating. Kimberly, as you know, David, is actually testifying at the trial. So we'll have an insight into this that really doesn't exist anywhere else.
I'm very excited for that. Like you say, like Tom Girardi, the pop culture aspect of it, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Like, did you, because you're involved in so much, right? You have your other podcasts. Like, did you know a lot about Tom Girardi? The Jonathan Club, esteemed lawyer. Like, did you know who he was all these years?
Well, yeah, from the Aaron Brockovich movie and those stories, and obviously I've followed a lot of criminal cases over the years, and any notable plaintiff's attorney or defense attorney or prosecutor, they're people I follow, not just because it's my job to follow them. I'm truly fascinated by the legal process. Early in my career, I covered a lot of criminal trials, both at the local level and at the federal level. And at Dateline, we did so many cases where we would have a camera in the courtroom for the trial. We just did one for True Blue where a guy was allegedly wrongfully committed, and we had cameras throughout the entire process. And so it's a fascinating world for me. And look, Tom Girardi was the man in some ways when it came to plaintiffs lawyering. He was very successful. He won a lot of settlements, not just major settlements, but $333 million from Pacific Gas and Light. I mean, these are huge settlements. And along the way, as you know, he created a legacy of political contacts going all the way up to the White House. And so you have to ask yourself, did he slide by some of this, or did he avoid scrutiny because of his political connections uh, in the political world as well as in the legal world with judges, etc.?
Right. You once said in an interview that you kind of fell into all this, or you first realized that you wanted to get into investigative journalism through Jimmy Hoffa.
That's
Is that
true.
that's true?
That is true. I grew up about a mile and a half from the Red Fox restaurant, which is where he was last seen and presumably kidnapped after lunch. And I rode my bike up there because I didn't have a driver's license. I was 15 or 14 or 15 at the time, I suppose. And I was fascinated by the law enforcement investigation. The FBI was there, and, our small town of Bloomfield Township, Michigan, and local police and the reporters from Channel 7 Action News in Detroit, where I would one time work, and network correspondents. And so I kind of got bit by the bug at that point, and always followed that story. And ultimately, when I went to college, I signed up for the campus radio station and That's how it started.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Do you see any similarities between Jimmy Hoffa and Tom Girardi?
Just in the fact that it is such an enduring mystery how somebody could get away with allegedly diverting client money, law firm money, for so many years. And I think there's a parallel in that Jimmy Hoffa found himself in peril because he wanted to get back into the spotlight. He had served his time, he had done his debt to society, and now he wanted to get back into the Teamsters Union. Well, you've got Tom Girardi, who was a well-known and I suppose arguably a flashy lawyer, but it wasn't until he married Erika Jayne and promoted her career and created a company for her and put all this money into her Hollywood career that he got on the radar of federal investigators.
And do you think the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills like exacerbated that? Like, did it speed it up, or this train was moving regardless, just in your opinion?
I think the train was moving, and I think people like Kimberly Archie wanted to make sure there was some justice here. But there's no doubt in my mind that when you get on a platform like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and you flaunt your money, in this case, ill-gotten gains, allegedly, you're going to become a target because you're just shoving it right in people's faces. You've got not just one private plane, but two private planes. You've got not just a private club within the group of housewives. You got to pony up 40 grand to be a part of it. All this opulence and excess and wealth, you're going to get on somebody's radar.
Yeah.
It goes without saying.
That's what I would think too. So, like, what goes through? I mean, I know you're not Tom Girardi, but just you have so much expertise in this area. Like, so what do you think goes through someone like Tom Girardi's mind when he's saying to his wife, "Yes, go for it, fill out the application"? Is it arrogance? Is it narcissism? Is it thinking you're just so smart you're not going to get caught?
I think it's all of the above and a sense of impunity because you're a master of the universe when it comes to the legal world. You know the judges. You socialize with the judges. You know the politicians. You've raised millions of dollars for them. And you're a well-known celebrity in your own right. But now you're taking it to the next level. You've got a trophy wife. You want her to be successful. You're flaunting this beauty and wealth and power. And I think at some point you lose your balance and you don't see the right from the wrong. It's like when we see a predator in one of our investigations. We just did one, the latest investigation we call Takedown with Chris Hansen on True Blue last